what did you know that you wanted in a relationship, and where did that definition come from?
So I knew what I wanted in a relationship probably at an early age, probably I'm gonna say 13, 14. Now I was I had a lot of friends who they were um they were having sex at a young age, 15, 14, 15, and I was not raised that way. So that outlook on women were completely different from mine, and they would always make fun of me like, "Oh, you're a sap, you're this or that." I'm like, no, I just look at the relationship between men and women differently. And growing up, I was really challenged in my thought process when I got to college, because when you get to college, you're discovering things what you're not privy to, what you didn't grow up with, and seeing things and hearing things, and it's like, okay, am I weird or am I just that, hopeful romantic? And I don't know a lot of other guys who, at a young age, were hopeful romantic. But one thing that I did realize is that watching those shows, they did romanticize it to a degree, but they didn't show you the difficulties of trying to build that and trying to find the right person and realizing that you're going to come across people that you thought you were aligned with, and you come to realize that you're not. And the beautiful thing about it is it's kind of cliche, but you gotta run into the people that are not what you want to find out what you truly want.
So what were the things, just give me, like, the list in general. What were the things that you knew that you wanted out of a relationship?
I wanted uh I wanted somebody who would want me. I didn't want to go and try to chase someone only for them to say, "Oh no, I don't want you." That would have been a waste of my time. Um I wanted a relationship built on mutual respect. I wanted someone who could keep me laughing and I can keep them laughing. I wanted someone who believes in God, because I'm a man who believes in God. Um, Someone who I could grow old with, someone who has their head on straight, someone who has the same values as I do, and is not afraid to challenge me on certain things, even my beliefs. And
Mm,
even when it's said and done, even if we agree to disagree, we're still fine with that. We can move forward.
love that. So what makes your relationship with Taylor different than the relationships that you had had in the past, if there were relationships in the past?
So what makes it different is that, one, realizing that I knew what I wanted, but I was going about it the wrong way. So I had to change and I had to grow. Another thing is that I allow her to change and I allow her to grow. We learn how to grow together as one. And we don't try to change each other. But what makes it even better is that we went to high school together. So we already knew kind of what we were getting into. We actually didn't start dating until we were adults. But just just my wife's personality, the way she handles things, the way that she she knows how to talk to me. She knows how to talk to me and not at me. Uh,
Mm,
the mutual respect that we give each other, the love, the appreciation that we give each other. And I think our unique love story is not only the foundation of our relationship, but because of the things that we went through, it made us stronger, especially given the time that we started dating, which was during the COVID pandemic. And what I realized looking back at it is that while the COVID pandemic did two things in terms of relationships, it either brought people closer together or it broke them apart.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
and for us, it brought us closer together on top of the many issues that we had gone through. So, I'll scream this from the mountaintops. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't do it with anybody else but her.
mm.
And I just because my wife is my wife, and we have this bond that can't be broken. I found that she was my person all along. We just had to grow up since we met each other in high school.
Boy, I feel that deeply.
Do you did you court your wife? Do you know the term courting?
Yeah, so and it's funny that you asked that question because on a previous podcast we discussed the difference between dating and courting. I courted my wife. I made sure that my intentions were known, and we had that conversation early on. I remember when we first started dating, she asked me, "Where do I see us in 5 years?" And the first thing I said was, "Hopefully married, with kids, doing well in our careers." Fast forward to 5 years later, we were married. We hadn't had kids yet, but we do want them. But we're doing well in our career. So far, 2 for 3.
Yeah.
So, real quickly, can you define courting for the audience who may not know what that is?
Sure. So courting is you find your person that you're really interested in, and that after a while you can see yourself moving forward with your future with. That you made your intentions known, that they've made their intentions known, so there is no gray area. You make sure that you stay on the same page. You're in a committed relationship, so you're not thinking about anybody else. It's just you two, and you're progressing in life to where you want to be married, where you want to have kids, where you want to grow old together, where you want to make memories with each other, where you want to have those inside jokes that everyone is looking at around you, just looking at you guys crazy because you're laughing and they don't know why. Uh, Courting, and I realized what courting was probably when I got it was it was after my last relationship, but before I started dating my wife, and I really started to, you know, really be intentional with my time and really trying to break down what I really wanted, because the past relationships, what I learned from each of them was what I didn't want. So it helped me shape what I did want. And one of the things I did say before I started dating my wife was the next woman that I date, I want to be my wife. So in order for her to be my wife or search for my wife, I had to present myself as a husband. So
Mm, that
so in order to present myself as a husband, I had to change my thought patterns, change the way I did things in order to set myself up for that. Because you can say that you want to be a husband or you want to be a wife all you want to, but if you're not presenting those qualities, nobody's going to choose you as a husband or as a wife.
That's so good. And I mean, you didn't stumble into marriage either. You were aiming for marriage, and you had to prepare yourself to become a man worthy of that. So what does that look like being a man in today's society where I feel like a lot of not just men in general, this whole generation misses it. Like women fail to prepare to become a wife and men fail to become a husband. What did that look like for you?
Well, the first thing is that you got to have a relationship with God. You have to be centered. The second thing is you have to listen to him and let him lead you and let him guide you. And I, looking back, I believe when I said that the next woman I date, I want to be my wife. I believe that was a prayer, and God was listening. He said, "I have the perfect woman for you." And so just listening to what God is telling you as a person and staying centered and following Him, even when you don't quite understand, because you're not going to see everything. He just says, "Just follow me," and you got to follow Him whether you like what he's gonna show you or not. And then when he presents your wife to you or he presents your husband to you, you're gonna know, and he's gonna whisper in your ear, "That's the one. That's the one for
Mhm.
you."
And I love that because you didn't find a wife, you became a man that is worthy of one
Mhm.
and, like, prepared yourself for Taylor, which is incredible. I feel like I hear a lot of men say that they want a wife, and their lifestyle doesn't line up with that. It looks on the outside like they want options. What do you feel like the disconnect is societally?
I think society has told us that as men, we need to have multiple women for multiple needs. Now, you're not going to be able to get all your needs out of one person, and you got to be completely fine with that. But one thing I learned, and I recently heard this, and it kind of blew my mind. But I sat there and thought about, yeah, that's true. You, as a man, you don't deal with 1,000 women one way. You deal with one woman a thousand different ways.
I love that. So good.
Yeah.
So,
So you, one of the things that I've also learned is that, and spoke about this earlier. Uh, Growing, you got to grow, because the person that you started dating one day is not going to be the same person 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. And you got to be okay with your partner growing, and they have to be okay with you growing and allowing you to grow.
so in that essence, like, how do you respond to the people who are like, "Man, I ain't having sex, with one woman for the rest of my life, I can't be," like, what's your response to somebody who has that kind of mentality?
They haven't finished growing yet. They haven't reached the mindset that they only want one person, because after a while, chasing women or chasing men gets tiring. And at some point you're gonna want to settle down more than likely and have that one person. And as a man of God, I studied this in the Bible. He who finds a wife findeth a good thing and obtains favor with
Mhm.
the Lord. So me marrying my wife, I obtained favor with the Lord. And I want him to continue to breathe and bless our marriage in the best way possible. And I will tell, anyone who has that mindset, you don't have as much time as you think.
Mhm,
You really don't, because one minute you're waking up, you're a vibrant 18-year-old, next thing you know, you're 30 with a career. So it's nothing wrong with having fun, but make sure that after a while you're gonna have to move in your life with intention and with purpose.